Welcome to Forever Exiled. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Episode 289. And see how this goes.
Wow, what's wrong with you?
It's listen, there's going to be interruptions. I have a Playdate happening in my house, and it's Good Friday, so happy Easter to everybody.
Your girlfriend brought her kids over to play with your kids?
No, but it's, I don't know. You know how sometimes people get in the mood to clean everything? That's the day today.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, I don't actually think it's the mood to clean. I think it's in a mood to F you, spouse, and not in a good way, because that mood to clean is typically at a very inconvenient time.
Well, sometimes I just want to play a game, or maybe...
But then you feel guilty because someone else is going clean happy.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, it's kids are obviously off of school I work this morning, but we're off work. And so it just may be an interrupting day. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And pretty cool. Our kids have I don't know what it is about our school district. Maybe there's a good reason for it, but they've never explained it to us. So it's hilarious. People in our area, we call days off from school because Justin and I have kids, and our kids that are in school, the days that they just have off that would normally be a school day, we call them Pro D days, professional development days. I guess is what it is. I don't know if they still call them that, but for every time there's a long weekend.
Nice. It probably won't be kept in, but anyway.
That's fine. Every time there's a long weekend, our specific school district likes to throw in a Pro D day, right? Exactly. So if the Friday's off, they'll give let's say it's a provincial or federal holiday, they'll give the Monday off, or vice versa. Well, it's Easter long weekend, and happy Easter, or whatever it is that you...
It is Easter everywhere.
That's what you get this weekend off. Is for you. Yeah. So we have here, I mean, some companies only honor the one day, but many companies honor both days, both Friday and Monday. So it's one of the only 4-day weekends that some people get. For some reason, our school in this district, what? Have Thursday off too. Screw you, families with 2 working parents. So anyway, today's already day 2 of their days off.
Yeah, and I've had enough already. But big shout out to our patrons. Thanks everybody who resubbed up this week. We didn't get to it. Look at this. It's coming so much later. But thank you, patrons, for subbing up. I actually got a message today from somebody who got their card, so I'm glad you got it. Thank you for the message as well. Patreon gets you access to After Dark. It's our podcast after the podcast. We keep talking stuff and things, and you get a card and a sticker.
Card and a sticker.
How was your week, buddy?
Good. I'm turning you up though, because you're really quiet.
Wondered if I was low.
Was it you? Because I've just been turning up all my stuff.
I saw my levels. Let me just check. It up. Yep, it is for some reason. So I'll just adjust it on the fly, and there we go.
That's good. More of you, man. More of you.
Editing, Justin. Figure that one out. How was your week?
I had a good week, man. Let's see. Flooring was done and almost perfectly. We had to call them back for a couple touch-ups, but they were touch-ups my wife and I could have done, except there was something screwy with the oven drawer, the drawer that's underneath the oven, that's part of the oven. Yep. There was something screwy with it. It kept, dislocating from its thing. And then, of course, we just had the floor replaced. So you don't want that scraping across the floor, right? Big metal drawer. So, and I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, why can't we figure this out? Aaron took a look at it. I spent a good amount of time looking at it. I'm like, what? Like, I built 1,000 different IKEA drawers. How is this different? And I'm looking through, I can't figure it out. So our restoration company's been fantastic, but I messaged them. I'm like, listen, I know you got to come an hour drive all the way over to our place, but something screwed up. I think they must have damaged something, and I'm sorry, but it's there. But since you're here, can you touch this that you guys kind of missed? And they're fantastic. They're an easy yes, a quick yes. And there was something damaged just while they were moving it around. There was a little clip that was damaged, so they got to fix that. I'm fighting with the Squirrel people still. I thought it was done. Well, no. So they put the steel mesh on the Squirrel is getting up the side of our chimney, right? It's crawling up the bricks of our chimney. So that's what it's scaling. And then it's chewing the wood that's into the roof, right? And to get to its babies or its nest or whatever it is. And so they were supposed to deal with the babies and figure that out, whether it was take them out or just let them, grow up and get out and then seal up the holes, whatever it is that they do. That's right. Slit. But
the benefit of not being on video.
Right. So anyway, they're supposed to be dealing with that or whatever. And on the back and on the side of the chimney, they put enough steel mesh that the squirrel has no access to the wood anymore. But for some reason on the front, they didn't. They only put it up above the hole. So what does the squirrel do? Well, the squirrel moves 2 inches over, choose another hole. So they come back. They put steel mesh just over that spot. So what does the squirrel do? Goes 2 inches over and digs another hole. So now I have like 3 big holes in this panel. And I'm like, hey, so what's going on? Like, I think this needs to be replaced. And they're like, well, normally, the aesthetics are up to the owner, right? It's a do-it-yourself project, and we just take care of the squirrel. And I'm writing back, and I'm like, my house is in way worse shape because of you. If I never called you, my house would have been in better shape. So you guys got to fix this. So we're in the process of email tag doing that.
Yep.
Yeah, except they also took Thursday off. So he emailed me, the owner of the company, Wednesday, just as he's leaving the office. And all day Thursday, I'm calling and nobody's answering. Not the front desk, not him, not anybody. So douches all around at that company. If you have any squirrel problems, ask me which company I used, and I will recommend you don't use them. But besides that, it's been great. Like all our house got put back together, right? Because the flooring got done finally. So not finally, they did a great job. Not a criticism to them. It's just, it feels like a long time when you're a week without all that stuff and eating out every day. It's a lot. So that's all up. But then we ordered 2 pieces of furniture that arrived while that was being done. So it was a console table at the back that'll be nice to help our living room be a little bit more organized. And then my puzzle table arrived.
Oh, the one you were telling me about. Yeah.
Oh, it's glorious. It's not perfect actually, and I wouldn't recommend it. I'd probably look for a different one if I was to order again. But it's still nice. Does 1,000 or 2,000 pieces, 6 drawers, and so I put up a puzzle. The puzzle that I'm least excited for, because I got a bunch of puzzles, remember, from the garage sale last week or the week before. I put up the puzzle that I'm least excited to do because my in-laws are over now for the week.
Let them do it.
Or 2 weeks, whatever. Well, everybody wants to be a part of it, right? Because now there's 2 extra adults that are there. I'm like, okay, well, I don't want you doing any puzzles I'm excited to do myself. So let's put up the one that's least exciting. And let me tell you, Justin, it's like the puzzle from hell. Like it's working out to be fine, and there's details that are easy enough to match where you don't feel lost or clueless. It's not like a completely white blank puzzle, but the puzzle pieces don't exactly match up. So it's one of those where edges would always match. So you'd be able to look like, oh, okay, so after this male or female piece, there's this weird shape and it's roughly that long, or it's like a fat side compared to a thin side. Like there's little things you can do, but the puzzle pieces aren't cut so that they're perfectly synchronized. Like there's some pieces that match together, but one side is way higher than the other side.
Is that on purpose?
So it's how it's cut. Yeah. So the only way to match it isn't by the shape. It's specifically by what the image is or the text, which that's not cool. It's
a new challenge.
No, it's not a challenge. That's like having a loot-based game where you ignore your loot filter for 10 years. That's what this is. That's like lazy cutting. So anyway, not cool.
Are you in-laws over now?
I'm still enjoying it. Yeah, they are.
Cool.
They're all out. My wife, children.
It's going to be loud in my house.
No, that's okay. It looked like you were going to go yell.
I was going to yell, but
that's fine. I don't care, man. I don't care what the sounds
just keep
in the
going
background.
if it gets loud.
Yeah. Let them go. So, they're all at Raleigh Lake. Erin, her 2 brothers and their kids and her parents, everyone but me's at Raleigh Lake. So living the dream. I was hoping to play a lot of Path of Exile while we were doing this. I was waiting for TELUS to come and get fixed. Yep. Dude, something's up with my wireless, man.
Why? Still not working?
TELUS replaced the wireless router just now, and the internet still sucks. I told them it was fine so that they didn't charge me for the visit, because if we waste their time and it's not something wrong with TELUS, they'll charge you $200. So I said, yeah, everything works great, because I didn't want to spend the $200 for it, but something's up. It's still the same problem, even though they replaced the router. So
I'll come over sometime. We'll take a look.
Cool. See you tonight.
Yep.
Anyway, that's me. It's been good, but I haven't touched PoE at all. Unfortunately, I still have lots to say. There's been so many cool changes, and can't wait to talk about them. But I wasn't able to touch it. It was all just hosting and cleaning and fixing and arguing via email. How about you, man? How was your week?
I played Path of Exile this week quite a bit, so I have some stuff to talk about on that end too. My week was busy. It was just meetings. I had to work today, which sucked, but it was what it was. And was that you? What was that noise I just heard? What else? Christina and I watched a show on Netflix called The Residence or The Resident.
Okay. Sounds stupid. Did you like it?
I did until the end. The last episode was kind of like, it was fine, but it wasn't a very exciting. Sounds like hearing a machine or something in the background. I can't tell if it's me or you.
Well, my robot vacuum's been doing stuff for a long time.
Maybe that's all it is.
It'll come out, right?
So it's sort of like a murder mystery-ish sort of style. It's cool. Like the idea behind it is the concept behind it is cool. I'm not a huge fan of like when the final part is not something that you could have really like. Yeah. I want to feel like I got tricked because I missed something, not because something new is introduced.
Definitely.
At the end. So
yeah, no, that's just lazy or cheesy murder mystery stuff. It's like you have a few cool ideas, but you don't know how to tie them together.
It was really well done.
You don't have every detail thought out.
But for me, the ending was kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, that's fine, but and really, I didn't feel like I got duped. And I like those style where I feel like, oh, I totally missed that, or I wasn't paying attention to that, or something to that effect.
Sure.
What else did I do? Yeah, man, it was just work. I am going to F1 in Montreal.
Shut up.
Yeah, right? Just happened.
That's crazy.
So Monday I'm at lunch with Christina and I get a call from Josh and he's like, hey, a buddy of mine in the Air Force goes to Montreal F1 every year. He has 4 tickets, but 2 of the people bailed. He asked me if I wanted them. Do you want to go? And I was like, I kind of laughed. I was like, I don't know, man. Like it's like a month and a half away.
Yeah, that's and $1 billion and it's 5,000 kilometers away.
And so then I just chatted about it with Christina and she did more looking into it than I did. And then sorted some stuff out and booked the flight tickets last night. So
wow, gonna go good for you.
Grandstand 11. It's right at the pit exit.
Oh, dude, is it the pit exit? They have a very exciting pit exit. I mean, you know the Montreal circuit. Yeah,
it's right there.
That's a wicked one because you kind of like shortcut 2.5 turns and you come out right when there's trying to accelerate more to traffic, really get into the nitty gritty of sector 1. Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
So it should be interesting. So I'll be in Montreal for that, which was crazy. It was weird how it all came together. So like very last minute. So yeah.
Can I ask what it's costing?
The total, I don't know what it'll be total. The ticket is $700, which doesn't seem that bad. I don't really know F1 prices. The ticket was $700, but I think that's cheaper than what it actually is when I looked at them online. It's all sold out, but
race day, practice, what's it include?
It's 3 days. It's the 13th through the 15th is what the access is for. And then flying is, I think we're flying for like $1,200. And then we haven't even sorted out where we're staying. His buddy's got an Airbnb that we may just join them in, but it's kind of just winging it. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that should be interesting. I've never been to Montreal, which is cool. I've actually never been out east ever. I've never been further than Alberta.
Interesting. I think it's Montreal's fantastic.
Yeah, it should be. I
don't know how much you'll get to be in Montreal.
Not really much at all. I don't really know. I'm more worried about the sitting and the walking, to be honest, because I'm going to have to be drugged. I had to make sure. The only thing that would change is if my appointment for my back comes up sooner, then obviously I'm out. But yeah, overall, the week was cool.
Good for you.
Played a lot of Path of Exile. Tried Last Epoch this morning because just people were talking about it. It was angering to get it to work. And in the end, what it was is the pedals for my racing sim setup. You can't have any joystick type thing plugged into your computer if you want to use. Actually, I couldn't even use keyboard and mouse. It literally wouldn't recognize anything. And I was like, looking online, trying to figure it out, and finally read about the people that were pissed with their sim setups that they had to unplug everything just to play it. So I went in with a bad attitude. It was fine though. Like I'll probably try it a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about Last Epoch. I know everybody talks about it. It is cool. I just haven't spent enough time. I played it a lot.
Yeah.
It says I played it 100 hours. I just don't really remember it.
Yeah, no, that was way back when it first came out, though. I mean, you bought it for me so we could try playing together. And the reason that we did it, and the reason you were so keen on it, was because we heard that it had an in-game filter that you
which
could
it does,
manipulate on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had a few episodes that one specifically about that, but then many that reference it. And so
they have the ability for you to like use keyboard and mouse and controller, which is cool. But if you want to use just controller, it's a bit clunky. It's kind of like they want you to use keyboard and mouse for some stuff while using the controller. And so anyway, I only got like 20 minutes in, so I didn't get a whole lot to give out an honest and real opinion of, but I did play a lot of Path of Exile.
POE.
Yeah,
cool.
I did. What do we got this week?
Busy week, which again,
boy, there's a
great
lot
job by
hot
GGG.
fixes.
Yeah. But most of them are all hot fixes. Of course, the F patch came out, and then we have a preview for the G patch coming out.
They need to bring out the G patch, but I'm going to talk about that. But the F patch was great.
It was. And then this one was kind of baffling to me, but you know how on Xbox, I can set up a home Xbox with my family, and any games that I've purchased, my family
I heard about this. Yep.
How is that not considered when, like, in December, November, October, when you're making keys that are supposed to be bound to the account?
That it was working fine, and then all of a sudden they decided, no, we don't like that anymore?
I don't know. But either way, that's how keys work, and that's a very core system in Xbox land, and now it's April. So I'm curious. I'm not like I don't know how much it impacted anything, but I guess they found out via bots or because of bots. I don't know. Anyway,
it sucks.
It's fixed now. They said.
Well, but it is fixed, so it still works fine for you guys to have just the one key and share it.
Well, Erin's a PC snob, so we bought a second.
Yeah,
key.
that's right.
Like I earned a key.
Yep.
And then
earned a key.
Well, but here's the thing. I earned the first key, money. And then it was like a month later, I bought an Xbox key. And then like the day later, I got the message because remember the communication was horrendous.
It was brutal.
At E8 launch. And their message was like, basically the wording was, it felt like you don't deserve an early access key. We're not giving you one. Here's the store. And I'm like, but it didn't say like, we're still checking or anything like that. So I ended up buying a key for Xbox. But then the next day they said, hey, congratulations, you earned one. So I gave one away, kept mine. But because I'd already used my PC one for me, not knowing if I was going to get an Xbox one or not, and if I wanted to spend the money.
Can you turn that robot off?
Yep.
Did you just do it one? Look at this guy.
Magic, man. I twisted my nipple, quarter of a degree.
Touch the button.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, I don't really understand it, but it seemed like a weird thing to bring in later. But
I mean, a fix is a fix. It's great. It's just surprising that it was maybe it didn't affect. Maybe somehow bots could override it, and it wasn't something that just my wife and I could have been manipulating until now. So who knows?
Yeah.
But either way, fix is a fix. Did you end up getting the Discord thingy?
I did. I think Logan was all. Yeah. I worked. Oh, that was actually something I did this week. It was fun. I got a message on Monday from Ethan. He's like, hey, do you want to play Path of Exile tonight? So we just hung out on Discord, played Path of Exile. So I wanted Logan to do it too. So I set up Discord for Logan, which I had to figure out how parental controls work for Discord because I'm careful with my kids and that kind of stuff. And so he hooked up and played, and he was all upset because the quest wasn't available to him. He spent like a day trying to figure it out the next day. He did get it. But yeah, apparently it's temporary though. It only lasts for like a month or something.
Unless you have Discord Nitro, it's temporary.
Oh.
Well, even with Nitro, it seems like you'll get it for extra time, but not necessarily permanent time. So when I saw that, I was like, oh.
Yeah. I didn't know it was temporary until Logan told me.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice reading skills, Just.
Yeah, I don't
read. Billions of patches. Mm-hmm. Let's do the patches first, and then we'll get into what hasn't been patched yet. Mm-hmm. Ascendancy respecking, Just. Yep. That's a thing. Do you care? I know a lot of people do.
I mean, I like that they brought it out. I think, again, though, this leans so heavily into, because they talked about it in Ziz's thing? Is that why we're getting it now? Like I mentioned it last week. It just makes me a bit nervous. Yeah, it's cool that it's there. I know we've talked about it in the past that it was a thing in PoE 1. I wonder why they're not doing it in PoE 2. So I think it's good. Just means you have to go through the trials again, but at least it's there.
Yeah. I'm pretty apathetic to it. I don't really see a need. Like if you're before you start, unless it's your very first playthrough, the first time ever playing the game, you're not, with the exception of that, you know what Ascendancy you're going to pick ahead of time. You know what I mean? Like you're not picking your class because you're excited about the class. You're picking your class only because it is the only way to access this Ascendancy.
Mm-hmm.
So the need to be able to swap your Ascendancy, to me, the only reason why, I mean, I get a lot of people like it and they have probably a whole bunch of reasons that I haven't thought of. And honestly, most of them wouldn't really impact me anyway. But I think the only reason that there is a value to it is because currently people are pretty disgruntled about the campaign. They just don't want to do the campaign again if they change.
And that's why I think they needed to have
the first game.
Yeah.
But if the campaign ends up being fine, why not? What's wrong with being like, okay, well, yeah, if you change your mind, you got to restart. That's how games work.
I used to love that in Path of Exile 1 early days. Hey, you screwed up your character, start over. I think it's a terrible thing for Path of Exile 2. Their campaign is brutal, and it's not, they're so stuck in it. It's crazy to me. Like it's a worse version of PoE 1 when it comes to campaign. Like just the time spent in there is ridiculous. It's too long. It's too big. I get it right now. We have to do them twice, but we used to do them 3 times back in Path of Exile. We would play through all the way to Merciless. And I just, I get the idea of having the respec so that if I go like, I want to try something different, that is a way better option for me than I just won't play.
Sure.
So,
and you know what? I don't disagree if the campaign maintains its tedious nature. Granted, they are doing everything they can to make it fun. Like there are so many monster balance changes, progress changes, area changes. They're really trying to help people enjoy the campaign. So who knows what that final product will be like on launch and then even post-launch too, right? I mean, even remember how long did it take for them to change areas in Path of Exile 1? Remember with the 3 busts we had to get in Act 3? The 3 busts that we had to find in the sewers.
Mm-hmm.
They used to be 3 separate areas, and then they modified that to all be the same area. Like, that kind of stuff can happen post-launch too. I think the thing that always baffles me, though, and if we ever have the opportunity to talk to, well, I was going to say Chris or Jonathan, but I guess now it's Jonathan or Mark. If we ever have the opportunity to speak to them about this, I would ask, why invest so much in a campaign? Like, in a game like Dark Souls or Assassin's Creed, I'm just throwing out games, but like when the campaign is the game, I get investing tons into the campaign. But anytime you have a separate component that's considered end game, the campaign is always trivial to every single player that's playing. I mean, not every single, 90% of the players that play the game, they care about end game. The idea is to get through the campaign. They don't care about the campaign. They're going through and it's all about the end game and then your progress with content that's more important and that matters. So it's always been a weird thing for me ever since they came out, really focusing on a real legit campaign. It was always a confusing thing for me because why? Like, sure, you want to do good work and provide a good product, but people are going to be desperately trying to skip it on a regular basis for the entire existence of the game. So it just seems odd. I'd love to ask where their idea is there.
My confidence.
I want to interrupt you one more time.
my confidence in them campaign wise going forward is quite low. And one thing that does, I get the idea of putting time and money and development into the campaign, but they've known for decades, at least a very long time. Chris used to say it that if he got you in maps, he had you. That's not
that
changed.
was where the financial retention really soared.
That's where they get the money. That's not new. That's not changed. That's not different. That's what people are playing Path of Exile for. They want to play the end game. They want to get into it.
That quote's like 7 years old, I think.
But it's still valid. I'm paying money to them when I get to play consistently, when I get to maps, to get to do the thing. Somebody mentioned in Discord, was very surprised because I missed it, but they did find the quote of Jonathan talking about, well, the campaign, it's no different in the campaign versus maps. It's all, you should be having fun anywhere. That is insane. That is absolutely insane. I do not play the campaign the same way I play maps. Not even close. The campaign is just tedious. I get that it's got to be there. I'm going through it. There's a story to tell. But in the end, I want to be in maps. I want to do the 100%. End game content. It baffles me, man, why they make it. I did my second run through with using uniques, with using buffed up stuff, and it was 18 hours total, but it was, I think, 14 hours in the game. And I know the areas. I know what I need to do, what I don't need to do. I'm not even saying necessarily that's too long, but it feels too long. I feel like I'm stuck. As soon as I hit Act 3, I'm like, oh, this slog. There should be 2 acts. It's too long. So the idea of respecing the Ascendancy to me is at least good, because I'm not going to have to roll another character to try one of the other Ascendancies. I haven't used it. I haven't even thought about using it. I honestly haven't even really looked into what the details are for how you do it. But I do see the value in it, because right now the concept of creating a new character is not enticing. But
no. I agree. I think it's more of a campaign fix than it is adhering to the whims of the fans. Like if you look at a game like Dark Souls, which I don't like the comparison that a lot of people make between this game and Dark Souls. To me, even the harshness of it, they're two different they're way too different of a game to compare the intention of severity. Like an ARPG like this how to be severe is totally different, right? You need to be extremely generic to be able to compare the two. But a game like Dark Souls has to care about the campaign, because their end game is redo the campaign, redo the campaign, 100%. Redo the campaign. Even Dragon's Dogma, the second game, the first game nailed their end game because of how they designed their campaign, which again was just like Dark Souls, redo it. The second Dragon's Dogma totally screwed up end game, because the campaign that you again had to do over and over and over, that was the end game, was very poorly designed. In a game where the end game is a completely separate game from the campaign, I get moderate investment. I get, hey, do a good job. I don't know. Like, it's just, it just seems like it's so, no, it's not. It's just not. If every single character was called A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like you just gave every NPC a different letter. I mean, I know a lot of people will care. I wouldn't. Like, sweet, get me to character Z or Z. Wait, what do Canadians say? Z. Get me to character Z. That, my end game map NPC guy. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I appreciate the work that they put into it. Cool. I appreciate the work they put into it. It's something I just noticed with Last Epoch. I loaded it up. I don't care about the storytelling. I'm just hitting AAA to get through to the quest. And I think that a lot of players play that way. So I do feel bad because there is time put into it.
I do. Yeah,
and I think
feel
that it's
too.
Good. But in the end, Jonathan and Mark are the top guys. And at a certain point, you have to just say, like, it's weird to me, man. Like, Chris talking about he's got me at maps is 100% true. I'm not... it's weird to me that it takes me that long to get to that process. That being said, they have so much work they need to do on endgame, but
it'll come. But it's stage. It's the stage that we're at.
Okay, let's keep going through it, because then I'll talk about one of my feelings about it. But let's keep going through the patches.
Feelings. Hey, we just had our federal vote. Well, actually, Aaron and I voted early today.
Yeah, it's Monday. We'll
federal
find out.
Debate. Speaking of feelings,
or 29th.
So charms. Right? They're supposed to be a pretty big answer. Hopefully, like, they're pretty useless in the campaign, right? You have a boss fight that lasts like 2 minutes and your charms are used up in the first 30 seconds. But charms have had their maximum charges halved and their charges per use halved. And when I saw that, I knew I wasn't finished the sentence, but in my brain, I was like, You got to be kidding me. They're already useless. What's going on? But then they explained what that means and it made more sense. And it says that makes them refill more quickly.
Yeah.
So,
and they
cool.
added
Hopefully
the
that
modifiers
becomes
to the belts too. So you can have more of them.
So hopefully that helps with the stingy loot leveling process.
Well, I think the rune thing helped a lot with that too. Like all the new runes that they added for stats and for resists and stuff. But I actually feel like it's kind of a band-aid and it's causing me a headache because there's no space for them.
There's the runes?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think there's enough items that drop in the campaign with sockets. Not in the first.
That's why they increased
like maybe in the second 3 acts. But what? Oh yeah, but
that's why they increased the artificer
shards. I don't have
shards.
Anywhere near enough of those to.
But
like
that's why they increased.
Here's a rune. Spend here. Well, the balance is still.
It's not enough, but it's still more.
Stashes, man. They added stashes for affinities. So there's socketables. It doesn't mean that there's necessarily specialty tabs. But maybe this meant specialty tabs, but they said that affinities have been added. So whether that means these tabs have been added or not, I don't know. But so stashes that now have affinities. Socketables. I love that. We used to, when we were testing racing games, when I worked at Electronic Arts, things that you could crash into, like boxes or like a light post that would just crumble like a piece of paper. We called them knockables. Anyway, socketables have affinities. Fragments, including tablets and trial keys. Breach, expedition, and ritual. They have affinities. Whether that means they have their specialty tab ready or not, I do not know.
I don't know why they didn't give us back the expedition locker. Like, it's weird because they give you the rituals for the trials, but expedition doesn't have that. Also, expedition drives me bananas that I can't buy stuff and craft stuff with stuff in my stash. I have to go and grab it, put it into my inventory. Ciosa? And yeah, it's so annoying. I don't even remember whose is what. It's silly to me, but that's cool. I haven't looked into actually to see, because Breach was one of the ones that was weird to me that we used to have a tab for it. And now maybe it's back. I haven't actually looked.
That's funny. I'm still in Act 2. I haven't touched my game in a week. So I love that all these changes, like end game stuff, end game mechanics, end game this. I'm like, oh, neat. Wonder what's going to be. It's like joining like in the old days before POE 2 is ever going to be a thing. You join a league 2 months late and you're like, man, this is all set up nice. What's going on? I don't know what all the whining was about. What's going on? That's going to be me when I finally get to end game. Atlas bookmarks.
That's cool.
Now that's something I've never touched that, but the enormity of endgame and how scrolling works, like just on like a map on console. I'm used to just holding the left analog stick and going in other games, but it's console's console, right? So just the idea of Atlas bookmarks when just visualizing what this endgame was, that excited me, and I haven't even been there yet.
When we were talking,
I did?
Yeah, you sent that to me, and I was like, I hope they made it work for controller. And I tested it, and it does. So kudos to them. It works great on a controller. You can give it little icons. You can give it a name. I think you can store up to 20, and it worked. I used it for
16.
Keeping track of some 16.
Yeah,
it worked. It worked great for me.
Good. I'm glad it did. I'm really impressed at the equality that controller and mouse and keyboard are getting together. I'm just, and maybe I'm over thankful for it. I don't think so, but maybe I'm over thankful for it because yes, the POE1 experience. I was like, it's like, I remember when like, so we have community members that of course love certain skills. Like I love zombies, and Theta is one of our regular listeners that loves Herald of Agony from the first game, and just Herald of Agony, Herald of Agony. Well, funny enough, Theta's been trying to convert jokingly everybody to Herald of, sorry, I didn't mean to exclaim. My mouse jumped, and Windows, I haven't figured out I haven't put any time into it, but there it is. When I hover the sun, when I hover the weather on my taskbar, all of a sudden Windows is like, look at all the news. And I saw all this like Canadian federal debate stuff. Anyway, sorry. Where was I? Theta. Sorry, Theta. Canadian politics interrupted. And I never wanted to like that skill, excluding the virulence side of it, but I never wanted to like the skill because I loved being able to use my mana for me and then my passive tree and sockets for my minions. You know what I mean? And in the first game, of course, for anyone that's just a POE2 listener, there was no spirit in Path of Exile 1, or is no spirit in Path of Exile 1. Your mana was what you used for all of your reservation skills, auras, everything. And only Herald skills reserved anything like mana. Everything else was just a mana cost, a one-time mana cost, whether it was duration or permanent. Now, it's like every single minion that doesn't have a duration is like Herald of Agony because it costs you your spirit, right? Where did that come from?
I am not sure.
Well, hi, Theta. I don't remember.
I'm sure we'll listen back and be like, oh shit, we totally missed
right,
what
that
we were
should have been the
talking about.
segue. Right. So Atlas bookmarks, Herald of Agony, which isn't in the game. And as each new rune tier is unlocked, we are removing the lower runes from the drop pool.
Great.
Now,
it's a great change.
That made me very happy and very mad.
You know they've seen the fork.
Well,
it's
right.
just like,
so in my head, I'm like, you can do that.
Yeah.
Now I pray for the sake of my sanity that is a POE 1-2 restriction. Like, because of how coding works, that can only be done in POE 2. Because if that could have been done in POE 1, that's like 50% of the fucking loop problem in Path of Exile 1.
Well, it's a little different. Sort of.
It's so easy to change and manipulate how implicits work. It's such an easy fix to work around. If you could have done that in Path of Exile 1, it is so easy to make tags for which base types uniques are tied to, how implicits scale or don't. Like, that's so easy. If you could have done that in Path of Exile 1,
maybe they couldn't. Maybe they couldn't.
That's what I'm hoping, and I'm never going to ask. If we ever get them on the show, I'm never going to ask them, because I'm so scared that, yeah, we could have done that, but we just didn't have the time. My head will explode like a Looney Tunes character.
It's a good change, though, because I was getting flooded. I just turned runes off eventually. I was like, this is dumb. There's too many. Yeah. I'm seeing too much. So that's a good change.
It is. And yes, because now, Tyler, is Path of Exile only 2. All my resentments and regrets for Path of Exile 1 are gone.
Let them wash away.
It's a marriage that didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
But I have not gotten to endgame. I'm not familiar with the concept of the different tiered item. What's the term for, like, there's the base type, but then there's a better version of that exact same base type. What's that tier? What's that called?
Well, there's just a normal one, and then there's greater. So there's the lesser, the normal one, and
sorry,
greater.
Not runes. The just like a wand, or like a siphoning wand, or a armor. There's like better versions of it, right?
Okay.
Oh shoot! I was hoping you would know that, and you'd be able. I wanted to you would explain it to me.
Well, are there though? Like, because there's base types, but that only start dropping at a certain level.
Yeah, but then there's better versions of that same base type that you're hoping to get.
Are there?
Yeah. Okay. Huh. Well, conversation for another time.
Mm-hmm.
How the rune tier system works, and now lower runes won't drop. They're completely removing them from the drop pool, which makes the default loot filter that much more, hopefully, viable. Is that the case with other items currently?
Maps, I think, is the only thing they did that with.
Okay.
Or waystones, whatever you want to call them. That's the only other thing I know of where they just don't drop the lower tier versions of them.
All right. In the gem cut, have you played since F has been released?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The added an equipped gems section to the gem cutting interface to make leveling cross-class skills.
Keyboard and mouse
keyboard, right? We already had that.
Which was funny that we had it on controller, but it wasn't.
Hey,
it's basically the LB. When we hit LB and it just shows you your upgrade screen, that's what they've added now.
Controller forever.
Crazy that they didn't
keyboard
have that.
People.
I would have said something for sure a long time ago. That would have driven me crazy.
But what's really cool, and this isn't going to matter once the game is released officially, but what's really cool that mouse and keyboard players have that we don't is mouse and keyboard players have, like on the occult screen, on the quarterstaff screen, they have a list of every single skill that's supposed to be in the game. But if that skill isn't available yet, it's just a blank square. So you can see how many more skills they're expecting to come out with for
really?
said weapon type or style. Yeah. So I always thought that was cool. So every now and then I'd come down. I mean, it has been for a bit because Aaron hasn't been playing POE, but I used to come downstairs and be like, hey, could you scroll over to the occult tab for me quick, please?
Interesting.
Oh, okay. There's like 3 blanks. Okay, cool. I got it. A billion monster changes. Love it. More the merrier. Like, obviously, we're still going to run into some frustrating situations. You messaged me about a few mod combos, but just to keep it positive just for a sec.
I'll give you a second.
They're changing it. They're changing it. And then, it sucks to go through, but then, next week there'll be more, and then next week there'll be more.
Yes, they are.
Go ahead,
well, they're making
there's some
changes.
classic GGG stuff happening.
I agree with you. They are making some changes. They did it even earlier on where they said, oh, hasted mobs or fast mobs can't have haste, and we're not going to introduce the we recover whatever their modifiers until you're at a certain level. I fought a mob. Okay, let me just actually first say, mana siphoning is a dumb modifier. It's just a stupid modifier to have on an enemy. I just think it's dumb. And I can fight it right in the middle, right? This is the typical mana siphoner skill. If I stand right in the middle, I can fight the mob and I don't lose mana. But as soon as I go in the blue circle around it, I lose mana and eventually lose health. Dumb mod, hate it.
Yeah, it's called mana siphoner, but
someone
life and mana siphoner
with the release of 0.2 decided, that skill that everybody hates, I got an idea to make it worse. Now, why don't we have it drop blue pools randomly on the ground as well that do the same thing? What the fuck? That is the dumbest thing. The first time I saw it, I was like, you got to be kidding me. This has to be an additional modifier. It's not. So I fought a mob that had the mana siphoner. It had the, oh crap, what's it called? It makes it look like a smoke cloud and it teleports to you.
Blind.
Something. This mob would not stop moving and was jumping all over the place, dropping pools and the mana siphoner. I was so angry when I played that. It was so stupid.
When you messaged me, because your previous messages in my mind, I didn't go back into our WhatsApp history, but in my mind, your previous messages were all about companions. So when you sent me this sarcastic message of mana siphoner and like teleporting and stuff, that's like really fun. Yeah. I thought it was legit. I didn't think it was sarcastic. I thought you were like, got this companion. I'm like, oh man, screw those enemies. F them. They've been doing that to us for a decade. Let's get them back. Yeah. So I thought you were like all excited and I was like giving you thumbs ups and everything. And
I was like trying not to punch my screen. I was so mad.
Right. Oh man, that sucks. And I haven't dealt with it, but 100% my opinions on
we said
combinations on enemies. So
they need to fix it. It's so silly. It's are we still going through patches?
I have a question. You do what you want. You do what you want.
I messaged this to you yesterday or whatever, the day before. I think they have forgotten that we play for fun. I feel like it's not fun. I actually was thinking to myself while I was playing this week, I was in endgame and I'm like, what am I playing for right now? Like, I'm not enjoying it. I'm not having a good time. I'm not feeling like there's a progression. There's no good oomph in my character to feel like I'm powerful. I literally feel like I run all the time. Like, they made us slower, but they didn't make mobs slower. Have you played with, you wouldn't have yet. Temporal chains on a map right now is like
the best.
No, dude, it is like
on a map. Sorry, as a map mod, not for you.
It is. They've changed it since 0.2. It is a crawl, and temporal chains doesn't just affect your movement speed; it affects your action speed. Everything. It's like playing the game in slow motion, but the mobs are like zooming everywhere. I had to finish a map with it. It was awful. It was awful. And I was like, what? Like, did somebody not go like, is this going to still be fun? Like, I get making the game hard. I like the game being hard, but not dumb.
No, every wall at that company needs fun per hour?
Yes.
Question mark?
Yes.
We have in our store, I think I'm going to buy it for myself. It's this like, those like really it's like a gaming mat, I guess you could say. You're supposed to put your keyboard on it and your mouse and everything. It says like 36 billion fun per hour.
And that came from us talking.
I think I'm going to get it.
like way back in the day when people would make builds and they're like 70 billion, what was it?
Shaper
DPS or something. Yeah.
And they would come out with it even before the new league launches, but it was for that new league.
Anyway, I had a thought this week that I was like, I think they've forgotten that they're making a game to play for fun. When I look at the modifiers on some of these mobs and the combos that they can have, I'm like, why are you I get that you're trying to make the game difficult, but you have to still feel like there's some fun to it. I don't know. It was a frustrating week for me. I did play so much. Go ahead.
I'm curious. Like, obviously these choices need to be made and these numbers need to be chosen. And then of course we are the guinea pigs that, they highly value our feedback, and they've been, modifying their early access game substantially since point. Well, I mean, nonstop. But Jonathan gets a lot of flack for not being in tune, and Mark gets a lot of praise for being in tune. And I'm sure Mark's praise is legit, and I don't think Jonathan gets enough credit. I think it's just how he comes across. Sure. I think he's a lot more in tune than people give him credit for. That being said, some of these choices are new and some of these things are being made, but I highly doubt it's just one person. I'm curious. I mean, who cares who it is? What other games these people play that they're referencing to or getting their feedback from? Like what's their motivation? Like, what is it that what are the things that they do for fun in video games that when they add this and they choose these numbers, or they say, yes, these mod combinations are fine, where's it coming from? Like, there's no way, like, when they play, is it fun for them? I'm curious.
I was referencing back in my head when I was playing to Path of Exile 1, and Path of Exile 1 had a really good power creep. You could feel your character getting stronger. You felt like you were the one in control of that map. You were there to slay the enemies. Path of Exile 2 feels like I'm not welcome here and everyone is going to kill me. I don't feel like I'm the power. I'm 90 on my witch, which made me so angry to switch back to, but I did switch back to my witch. Got her to level 90. I feel like I'm just hopeful each map. Every single map I go into, I'm like, we'll see how this goes. And she's tanky. I don't actually die, but it takes so long. I just don't feel like I'm getting that same, like, I don't know, dopamine rush or whatever it was. I have yet to feel that, like, okay, this is now, I'm powerful. I'm the one in control of this map. I'm going to come here and slay the enemies. I was laughing to myself, like, they want to slow me down. At least make it when I run backwards, I'm faster. Because I'm running backwards so much in Path of Exile 2. Like, run and cast, run away.
Yeah, the kiting being a consistent part of the combat experience is not fun. Mm-hmm. Now, in Path of Exile 1, there was a pointless criticism to it. Well, I guess it's not pointless. It's only pointless if you care about lore. Justin and I do not, no offense to anybody else. Well, I mean, we don't mean to offend anybody else, but in Path of Exile 1 received criticism because when we first start off on the beach, we're these so-called nobodies, and then we slowly gain our skills, and then eventually we're killing gods, right? Like Kitava and Tukahama. And Tukahama, I really said that Canadian. And so anyway, you get that criticism, but you get the joy of clearing the map with one explosion, which was also a criticism of Path of Exile 1. And POE 2 is trying to fix all of that. I don't like kiting being a part of the regular experience, but if you include it as part of the early experience, you really start to appreciate when you no longer need to kite. But I have not played one POE 2 experience where I don't need to kite. So, and there's been a lot of variations, and big kudos to GGG currently, because the post point 2 changes are coming fast and furious. So gameplay is constantly changing, early access joys, and I appreciate that. But I don't think in general kiting should be a part of a necessary experience. Sure, some modifications like, holy crap, how did that combination happen? Sure. Or even like the occasional dumb modifier combination should have you running for the hills. But
it's just not always fun when you can't outrun it though. Like I just don't like
definitely.
that.
Definitely. But it's not occasional.
Yeah.
It's not rarely occasional. It is consistent. So like my heart goes out to them because like, how do you, like, this is their first time caring about all of this for the last 10 years, from my perception anyway. It was all just about how do you manage screen blasting, right? And now this is their first time like actually thinking about the enemy versus user experience and trying to make combat meaningful. My heart goes out to them because it's tough. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't suck, and I'm not saying it's not frustrating. It's just you're trying to make it so that the user's not constantly kiting, because you're always going to feel weak. And if you're even doing that when you're level 90, life sucks. Like, that's just not a fun experience. But you also need to find that balance where, okay, if they put moderate amount of investment into this game, they're going to be screen clearing. They got a lot of work. I mean, not as a criticism. It's just like, that's a tricky slope, but it's new for them. As far as I know, that's a new balance experience for them.
Yeah, I mean, so in the end, my real big hope is just that they remember that we're playing the game for fun. I'm not playing it for the slog. And I was thinking about it too with regards to that whole screen clearing type thing. I don't know if it's just a byproduct of games now where people stream them and YouTube them and make builds and, oh, this is super strong, so people follow it. And I know that they want to avoid that, but you can't do it at the cost of the person who's not following any of that stuff and just wants to play the game. And now their stuff sucks because they didn't pick the thing that people have figured out to be super strong, and they tailor the difficulty around that. Makes it really hard for everybody else. So I just want it to be fun, and what it's feeling like right now is not fun. It's just
okay.
Yeah, I've done everything into the Atlas. I still think progression is still way too slow, even though I know they're getting better at trying to fix that up. But like,
are you talking Atlas progression or character progression?
Atlas progression is too slow. Character progression, I mean, I actually don't find it bad. The Lich that I'm playing doesn't die. Like, she's awesome. It's fun. I'm playing with Essence Chain Contagion when it works and you get the pops. It's awesome, right? 'Cause Contagion then spreads and it feels so good.
Dude, I played, compared to the Necro in Path of Exile 1, I played the Necro the majority of the time because of my zombie, the skill zombie, not zombies in general, the zombie love. But I occasionally tried it with the Occultist, and oh man.
Well, and that's what my third Ascendancy
is nice.
My third Ascendancy is the one that also makes them, if they die from Chaos, there's a chance that they explode. So it's not only the pop from the Essence Drain Contagion going off, but then the pop going from the enemies exploding. It's fine in how it runs through, and like the gameplay is all right. But when I say it's not fun too, like, I'm killing rares and I'm getting gold. Like, the drops are just blah. I know that that's a big part of their G thing that they're working on is loot. I'm not sure how it will totally, because it seems
G patch.
I'm looking forward to the G stuff. I don't know
why, but my mind went like, G unit. G. What's up?
The G patch is supposed to be touching on loot, but like, there's nothing. It's crazy to me that you can just gamble for better stuff. I can gamble for rings to get a better chance of having rings than I can. I ended up going on trade and just buying a lot of stuff for my character, but the drops are just blah. They're just not that great. So that makes the grind even worse. And then, you still have this process of like Expedition, for example. If I want to do Expedition and I want to progress the Expedition Atlas tree, I have to do Expeditions till I get logbooks, run the logbook, and hope that logbook rolls a boss in it. If it rolls a boss in it, then I can go fight the boss and I'll get 2 points. And then just keep repeating that. But that's big RNG as to whether or not the logbook will drop first off, and then whether or not the logbook has a boss in the logbook when you run it. So and then ritual. You just run ritual until your eyes bleed, hoping that you get an invite to fight the king that comes up as one of the ritual purchases. Like, they're just
I still remember. I forget, was it ritual? No, it wasn't ritual, but I still remember the RNG factor when they had Ultimatum as a league. I remember one of the replies to somebody, they were really trying, GG was really trying to solidify the positive experience that an RNG boss roll would work. And so it was like, it was just an impossible. They responded to somebody and they brought up all their math and they replied to them, and the person had so few boss availabilities, I guess you could say, like the RNG factor for them being capable of fighting the boss rolled for them, but every time they didn't get to the stage where they could fight the boss when that boss would have rolled for them. I remember that post, and that's very poorly explained. But
no, I know what you're talking about. It was a frustrating RNG part. So it's just a long slog if you want to get into those Atlas progressions. G is coming out with a new patch as well that's going to fix the Nexus corruption, because that's what they've switched how you progress the Atlas. It used to be do 15 tier 1s, 15 tier 2s, 15 tier 3s, and that's how you got your Atlas points. But they changed it now where you got to find a corrupted Nexus in the corrupted zones of the Atlas. You have to do them and then you complete them at a certain tier map, but you have to find them, and you're just running from tower to tower hoping that it opens up an area that you can find red in. I'm level 90. I have progressed through so much. I'm only up to 8. I have just over half of my Atlas points because I can't find these corrupted nexuses. So hopefully they fix that with G, but yeah, the end game is just so it feels too heavy. It's not enjoyable. The progression is so slow. It's so slow. And the disappointing part is, even if I wanted to try a new character, I am not doing that fucking campaign again. I've done it twice. I just won't. I'd rather go play Farming Simulator.
And that's kind of part of the long-term consequences of when you don't do things step by step, but you try and do everything at once, right? Like 3 weeks, according to Jonathan, 3 weeks before EA launch, decide that they need to include an end game. Okay, for sure, pros and cons to that decision, but part of it now is all your resources are spread out, and if you're trying to improve both, but one of them sucks, people aren't going to play your game, right? Yeah. Like, you're not going to play endgame because you don't want to progress the campaign again. But if endgame sucks, who's going to bother progressing through the campaign no matter how good it is, right? And when you spread your resources too thin, all of a sudden you're in a situation where obviously you need to manage all those points of the compass, but it becomes quite difficult. So it's a tricky position for them to be in. I hope they have. Yeah,
you can definitely see that they're trying. It's just where it's at right now. And again, it's early access, so you just have to suck it up sometimes when you're just not into it. But I hope that overarching everything is this fun? Is it fun?
Yeah.
All right, if we're adding it just to make it awful or make it hard, I just don't think it should go in.
Well, your enemy mod combos are an example of GGG being old GGG, but they have even direct quotes recently of saying it all needs to be fun. So at some point, I'm sure it will be. Hope it will be. Hopefully, just for you and I personally, as 2 humans out of the 9 billion people in this world, hopefully their opinion of fun is what we consider fun as well. In regards to the loot coming in G, that one really made me think. Like, it's about time you start talking about loot, right? I mean, early access came out in December.
This is the second time, though, that they've done this exact same thing. They did a run of
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, they did a run of saying, hey, we've tweaked the bosses to make sure that they're dropping you loot.
Yeah.
Now we're here again.
Well, and that's good. Like, I've been thinking, like, I'm obviously a big fan of loot and the solo self-found experience. And if I never need to make a filter, fantastic. Like, that's the only reason I made a filter was because Path of Exile 1 sucks so horribly at the vanilla experience. But if you don't want your screen cluttered with loot, the loot that drops need to be valuable. So whether that's a basic base type that's valuable and then you use currency on it, or you have not much, your currency is really valuable and you're very hesitant to spend it, and then the item that drops already has decent value for a generic character. Whatever path you choose is fine, but you can't have a huge frequency of it. Bosses are where you always want to feel like it was worth the grind. It was worth dying. It was worth repeating. I really need this. Now, in games, other games like action games where you would get experience points or souls or runes, whatever it was, irrelevant of what you earned, you were able to earn XP that could level up your character. And Path of Exile is not like that. It is solely based on the loot in that regards. the XP, once you get, especially to like in Path of Exile 1, I don't know what it's like in Path of Exile 2, but once you got to like the level 90, 91, it was never about the experience value that you got from the boss. It was always about the loot. You have to nail that. So I do appreciate any changes they make to that. But I was thinking about the campaign because that's where I'm at. And nailing boss drops, I was thinking about this after I read the post on what's coming for G. Nailing boss drops is a really good answer for campaign loot.
Back. All right. Do you remember what you were saying?
No, it's okay. Yeah, no, good. You're all good?
Yep.
All right. Anyway, to summarize, I don't remember where I left off, but to summarize, like when you want to control the loot and the quantity of loot, it's the exciting battles, like the long battles. So whether it's a rare battle or a boss battle, that's where you want your reward to be, because you want that excruciating fight to be worthwhile, right? It's the loot that makes the fight exciting, even if it's tedious or frustrating, or you're finding that you're kiting. Again, you don't want to kite every battle, but you know, even if it's a frustrating battle, if you get an amazing item at the end, you're like, yes. And even if it's an amazing item that doesn't work for you, sure, there's that disappointment, but you at least see that the game really rewarded you for all that effort. And in terms of the campaign, which has been my primary focus so far because of the amount of time I have to invest into the game, that would be a really good, big part of the loot fix for campaign. There's a lot of bosses. There's a lot of big rare fights. And if you can really reward the user for spending the time to do that stuff, like we were joking last week, you go into a wisp and all you get is gold and a blue item. Like,
yeah, it's worthless.
Well, okay, great. I'm ignoring wisps from this point forward. Let's go. And then because there's so much quote unquote epic content throughout the campaign, right? Like important battles, big battles, you don't have to flood your normal and magic enemies with any items, or I mean, very few items, right? You still get that very scarce drop ratio, but you still have the opportunity to reward your users. So I like the idea that they're going with. I hope it translates well long term into progress.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out. The G one I'm looking forward to mostly for the Nexus stuff, but it'll be interesting to see what they do with drops. At least they're touching them.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a busy week, man. And we had just as much to say about last week's editions as well. Like they've been pumping things out fast. I'm curious how it is that they're going and balancing everything out and understanding what should and shouldn't be fixed and to what values. These patches are coming fast and furious, which I love. It's what I've always wanted. But
yep, it is good.
Yeah. You have a few notes that you made.
So I am in a situation that you've been in before.
Okay.
Now, I may have made a couple of these notes whilst drinking, or just so here's where I'll start.
I thought I was talking to Google, and I'm like, I don't remember saying this at all.
Okay, so first off, I'm gotta give credit to Darkwing Drunk, and Cardando. I was going through my acts as you do. I was in the cruel part of Act 3. Getting to the downstairs part, going into the underground, and you know the worst mob in this whole game.
I've heard, yeah.
Right? The hag. The river hag specifically. And there was a conversation in 2121, which is where we hang out in game. If you're not in there, you can do /global 2121, where there was a comment made that maybe they should actually be the C word. That should be the name of them.
Okay.
And then somebody came up, one of the two of them came up with the idea of C words, and it made me laugh because
I don't get it. What's the connection? What's the
which part?
Do you see hag?
So the river hag, if instead they were called C words.
I'm feeling really stupid, but I need you to explain
because the reference was that they should be called the C word. Took a minute. And that made me laugh because I was like, man, if they had ever picked that would have been the best, because that's what they are. My other note, my second note, I have no clue what I'm talking about. Holy, the Frey Thorn is so much better. What's the Frey Thorn?
Was so while leveling, the Frey Thorn is where you go, and that's where you're introduced to the King of the Mist. Like you fight him briefly in an area, and then you fight him again after you do the rituals. That's what introduced you to the rituals. And it was just like, here's a ritual, here's a ritual, here's a ritual, here's the boss. before the area was massive. Now it's like
maybe they
1,
just made
2,
it smaller.
3, 4. Yeah, much, much, much smaller. So
okay,
that was my experience. So
was that your note or my note
too? That's your note.
Okay, good for me. It must have been better.
Maybe it is my note. Anyway,
I don't remember making that one. It makes.
I'm excited to hear what the next point is.
I would have to ask my kids, because this must have been in reference to a conversation we were having one night, and I must have I don't know how it came up, but all I wrote in my note is, "Am I fun?"
It was a question
with a
It's
question,
not a statement.
Yeah.
Am I fun?
I feel like
The
one of
answer,
them
Justin,
must
if
have
you're
had
asking
like
me,
a
is
turd.
yes.
One of them must have had a turd response. I don't remember.
You are fun, Justin.
Thanks,
You're
buddy.
fun to hang out with, and even there's some people that after they start drinking, you're like, oh
I tend
no,
to be
we should
more
make this
fun.
an alcohol-free evening because this person's coming. You're not that kind of person.
I'm not
You're
an angry
fun.
person.
You're fun when you're tipsy. You're fun when you're sober. You're a lot of fun to be around. So whoever made you ask that question, tell them to stick it.
I cannot remember. My kids will remember, but I don't remember. And then Reiki, just thanks for helping me with the Ascendancy. Reiki helped me get the 4th Ascendancy because of how stupid it is. And actually, I did try it myself. I was going through, this is just me getting angry with some of their modifiers. I was going through the trials. So I was going to do the 4th Ascendancy through trials, which I can usually do. I had all great things. What are the words called that you put into when you're doing the trial? Urns? What are they called? Seals?
Relics.
Relics. Thank you. I had great relics, capped out on resists, everything went great. And then I got into one room in the 4th floor. It was a hourglass one. And those hourglass ones, when you play a dot type build, so I'm chaos damage over time, it's tough because they don't die right away.
You run in circles, man, the whole minute.
Well, and then in the 4th floor, the hourglass is not like you can run in circles. It's platforms with stairs. So you're very limited to where you can move. Yeah, it's really dumb. Like, unless you have all phasing on all the time, which is not possible in PoE 2. Sure enough, I'm running, get trapped, and they added this modifier on the 4th floor that can happen with these guys where they get like 7 billion glowing balls above their head, and then they fire all of them at you. Like, you have to keep moving to not get hit by them.
No, it's like the Elden Beast.
I got trapped between mobs and I couldn't get through and instantly died. And that just related to that.
It's going to get cut out. But there was a wonderful pause where Justin was moving his mouth, but no words were coming out.
I'm just trying to form my
That's not
sentence.
a glitch. That's just him not
my
being.
brain.
He's trying to be polite. He's trying to be
you're
kind.
right. Thank you.
He's doing it again.
Well, I don't want to ever take away from what somebody's built, because I think what they've built with PoE 2 is incredible. I think they've done a great job. They have an amazing team. They're it just looks good. Obviously, Camille's the best with music. I just don't get why they have this affinity for building zones with narrow passageways. It's just not like you're always building a funnel for damage, and I don't get it. Like, there are so many maps where I'm like, I'm not doing that one. I know that layout, and it's just going to be tiny little area, skinny passageway, tiny little area, skinny. I don't get it. Like,
yeah. Well, because there's some character builds that really benefit from funneling your characters. But then, of course, that's your shotgun damage that everybody was complaining about, that they weren't overly used to. Right, exactly. When Heist first came out, what was that? 3.13 or something?
Yep.
And so, sure, there's the situation where there's some character builds that really benefit from it, but every build is going to have to worry about what that's like from the enemy's side of things. And
they're weird that you can't run through them. You can't sometimes run back through them, and like, trying to front load damage if you don't have a build that does it is just frustrating. So anyway, I tried to do my 4th Ascendancy, but then Reiki helped me and ran me through the ultimatum one. So you have to do like all the bosses, and then you fight the ultimatum boss at the end. And nice. I mean, the Lich is tough, man. The Lich is strong with just how tanky it's already built in, and the way that it deals with life and energy shield, and then you adding convalescence on top of that, and it is rare to die unless something stupid happens. So
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm curious where the third Ascendancy option.
Yeah,
I really hope it's not gonna. I really hope it's not going to be the dumb trials.
Trials,
but yeah. What was it? The Toda.
Toda.
Because that was what people were thinking it was going to be beforehand, and that would just be so stupid.
Based on what? Was there any reason to think that?
Yeah, it was comments that they were making way at the beginning of early access interviews with Ziggy.
I hope it's lab. I hope they just bring Azaro back.
You know, it would be hilarious with all the complaining we did, but oh my goodness, I would 100% do every single one of my Ascendancies with the Path of Exile 1 lab experience over what we're given currently.
They've gotten better, but they're still not fun.
It's such a developer first situation. Like, I get that there's people that like the two versions of Ascendancies that we have, but that's not why I turn on Path of Exile.
They're so specific to the type of way you play Path of Exile, which is a little bit odd.
To me, it doesn't suit like having multiple genres in an ARP.
Ooh.
I fell off my desk again.
I almost fell.
Anyway, whatever. I'm not going to complain about it. Hopefully it gets better. And I am glad that you got help to get your 4th Ascendancy. All of my build guides are going to be about ascending one time. And you can do the endgame content with just this one Ascendancy.
Just don't ascend. Now. Here's my witch build.
That's right. That's right. Ascend the way you like.
The witch was decent for leveling, but I tried to go chaos the whole time. That was tough. God, though, I love chaos damage. I love watching something slowly die. Or like just and I don't mean slow, but just like that constant tick of health dropping.
Tick. Yeah. Dot damage.
Feels so good. So yeah. Anyway, I probably will still end up playing a little bit because there's a few things I still want to try out in the end game, but I'm hopeful for the G patch because I would like to progress my Atlas. And right now I can't find any Nexuses. Yeah. Anyway, anything else?
Oh man, I've been itching to play. Like, you've had a rough week with your frustrations with the game, and all I've been is excited to play. Like, I really want to get going, and I still have high hopes for my build, and I'm really looking forward to seeing which concepts work and don't work, just with, you know, how certain trigger skills, how frequently they fill up and cast, and like I want to figure that out so that I can get a little bit more specific instead of generic with my build idea that I have. I'm, again, despite a lot of the frustrations, I'm just extremely thankful that theory crafting is a lot more viable than it was for the first 3 months. Like, I can actually come up with decent, normal, regular Path of Exile ideas and feel like I have a chance at doing the content, whereas before that most definitely was not the case. It was more of an action game in which 4 characters, which 4 builds did you want to play? So I'm more excited for the content, and I haven't had an opportunity to come across these frustrations, but I'm also I'm also not like it's one thing to constantly experience these frustrations and know that changes are happening, as opposed to not going through the frustrations, which I have had this week. I haven't been able to play because we're hosting and because of the flooring and all that. So I haven't been able to play. And then to see all these changes, it's a lot easier for me to see the optimism and the progress of it. So
I definitely see a lot of
optimism. I'm sorry for your week, for sure. Yeah,
and
I know.
In general, it wasn't all bad. I'm mostly pointing out the bad. That's just what I'm doing. Right? I don't know. It's just the case all the time. When you write in a review, it tends to be because it's something negative. So I'm only bringing that up. There were a lot of good stuff. There was parts that were fun. It's just it became more of a slog as things progressed. I was going to say, though, you should check out Blasphemy and Temporal Chains. I know you don't like how it works, but it feels good.
Oh,
it feels good.
I have played with TC for forever. So here's one thing that I never wanted to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. Don't, for the sake of enjoying Blasphemy, because any supports you. Yeah, I was going to say, don't cast it on its own.
Yeah, but the thing
is, because as soon as you see what that does, you're not going to want to go back to Blasphemy.
I still would be fine with Blasphemy because I don't have to do anything. So I'm still getting a benefit. It's not to the same degree, but I didn't do anything to do it. I didn't have to I'm using Despair as my cast, and I'm only using that on bosses anyway. But for having it just always on, it's just
that's a huge benefit.
Yeah.
But that's why I use cast on minion death instead of blasphemy. I mean, blasphemy of course has the magnitude reduction, but then it also cast on minion death. Those curses cost 60, or like the cast on minion death just costs 60 spirit. And then, of course, the curses cost their mana, but the 60 spirit doesn't change based on the supports that I have or how many skills I have. It's just mana cost. Whereas when you have blasphemy, your spirit cost increases based on your supports.
What's
and then,
the
of course,
percent?
there's
It's
the
50%
reduction.
less magnitude is what it is.
I haven't seen blasphemy since they changed curse efficiency to magnitude, so I don't know.
Yeah, it's 50%
but it used to be
less
60.
magnitude.
It was huge. It was absolutely huge.
50% less magnitude, but then I just threw on encumbrance, so I at least get 15% increased slow magnitude. So it's just a little bit less.
Here's the thing, Justin. If you actually sway me on going back to blasphemy,
I think you should try it.
well, the problem is how could I do that slow aura without doing the chronomancer slow aura?
Easy, just don't do it.
That's not easy. That just seems like a waste of time.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up.
Well,
see you later. Forever Exiled. I'm Justin AK Tags.
And I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Patrons, we'll catch you later in After Dark. Everybody else, we'll see you next week. Have a great Easter. If you're looking for more information, you find down below. We got a website, foreverexiled.com. We have the best Discord. Pop in there and say hello. And Patreon and Other Way Sport Podcast, you'll find them down below as well. Bye.
Bye-bye.